did have more. Unfortunately, I don't know where I'm at time-wise, so I hate to go over. But again, I appreciate the supplemental materials. However, I do feel they really are somewhat slanted and don't present all sides. So I'm here to just present the other side as a constituent, that I don't feel this resolution moves us forward as a county. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Well, if not, then we'll move right into the proclamations. If we could have Marlene come up, please. Today we have a proclamation for Marlene Morgan. Marlene Morgan devoted service to Ozaukee County citizens with disabilities with Portal Incorporated and began on July 24th, 1978, and is to be celebrated as an accomplishment that benefited the lives of many. Ms. Morgan's role as a tireless advocate for Portal clients for 40 years has provided all citizens with numerous opportunities to embrace its mission to enhance opportunities for people with disabilities to participate fully in their community as valued neighbors, productive workers, and respected citizens. Ms. Morgan's passion for her Portal clients include organizing and championing the Fish Day Run Walk, which encompasses over 750 runners and walkers annually with 150 volunteers. Ms. Morgan used her role to spread holiday cheer with the annual Portal Holiday Cookie Bake Sale, orchestrating volunteers to bring goods and networking with the community at large. Ms. Morgan also worked with their local civic organizations, coordinating the annual United Way campaigns as well as United Way Days of Caring, volunteering, and activities. Ms. Morgan developed interpersonal rapport with over 1,000 Portal clients and their families, while empowering the love and support of her husband, Terry, children Scott, Sean, Melissa, and their families. Now there be it resolved that I, Leach Landville, chairperson of Ozaukee County Board of Supervisors, do hereby proclaim sincere gratitude for Marlene Morgan's contributions. Congratulations, Marlene. Next, we have a proclamation for one of our dearest supervisors in the room. Mr. Becker, can you come up, please? Your chair is even open if you want to. Dan Becker has represented the citizens of Ozaukee County with dedication, distinction, and honor while serving the Ozaukee County Board of Supervisors for 18 years, from 2004 to 2022. Mr. Becker began his service with the Ozaukee County Board on April 6, 2004, and has provided devoted service for his district in the city of Port Washington and all of Ozaukee County. Mr. Becker's professional background in business and manufacturing allowed him to make significant contributions to Ozaukee County in the area of finance, budget, and economic development. During his tenure on the county board, Mr. Becker has played a central role guiding the county through many challenges and supporting positive change, seeking ways to improve processes for internal efficiencies as well as citizen services. His work led to the following important county efforts. He was leading the efforts to develop the Employee Health and Wellness Center as part of the Employee Benefit Plan. He was overseeing the efforts to upgrade the countywide public safety radio system. He was promoting the economic well-being and community by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs in his role in the Ozaukee Economic Development Board. Due to Mr. Becker's departure from the county board, his wealth and experience, knowledge, and resourcefulness will be lost but not forgotten. Mr. Becker served on these committees as a distinguished member. Administrative Committee, 6 years. Comprehensive Planning Board, 1 year. County Ambassador Program, 5 years. County Mutual Insurance Investment, 3 years. County Mutual Investment Advisory Committee, 3 years. Executive Committee, 6 years. Finance Committee, 6 years. Health and Human Services, 2 years. Joint County Library Planning Committee, 5 years. Joint Executive Committee, 1 year. Land Conservation, 1 year. Ozaukee County Economic Development Executive Board, 2 years. Ozaukee County Library Planning Commission, 2 years. Public Safety, 3 years. Public Works, 2 years. Smart Growth, 2 years. Technology Resource, 1 year. And Workforce Development, 1 year. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Lee Schlenbook, County Chairperson, Ozaukee County Board of Supervisors, do hereby proclaim that Dan Becker has enriched the lives of all of Ozaukee County residents and served as an inspiration for all civic-minded citizens, along with the future to come. Express my sincere and gratitude and appreciation for your years of dedicated service, and wish him a well-deserved happy retirement from the county board to his family and friends.
Yeah, I would just say thank you. This was unnecessary but greatly appreciated. So thank you, Lee, Jason, whoever else was involved in this. I see a lot of familiar faces and I see a lot of new faces. Congratulations to you all on your recent election or re-election, and I wish you all the best. I got on the county board back in the day because I just felt like I've had a blessed life and I needed to give back. And I thought this was a really good area to do that. And I just think that I wanted to give back to the citizens of Ozaukee County. And I think that our county is in great shape. I mean, thanks to not only this county board, Jason, all our wonderful elected officials, our great department heads, all the county employees. I just think that the future is bright, and good luck again to all of you in your term, and thank you again for this.
You can finally take a vacation, Dan. Yeah.
All right, communications, Julie, do we have any communications? Rhonda, do we have any claims?
Not today, thank you.
No, then let's go right into the report of the county administrator. Jason?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, board members. I hope
Morning.
everyone enjoyed a wonderful 4th of July. I think we're certainly blessed to live in such a wonderful country, and I hope we took ample time celebrating that, but I think we also need to take a moment to honor our neighbors to the south in Highland Park, whose celebration became a national tragedy recently. Moving on from that unfortunate event, I do have, I guess I'll start with a little bit of good news. Our 2021 popular annual financial report, or PAFR, a lot of acronyms here, received the GFOA, the Governmental Finance Officers Association Excellence Award. I'll send a link out to that document today. It's really a companion piece to our certified and annual financial report, the CAFR, which is the detailed financial documents of the county. And it's really intended to make that document, which is, you know, if you're not used to looking at a balance sheet or a statement of assets and those types of things, this is to make our financial position a little more user-friendly for people looking to see how what kind of financial shape the county's in, and we are in wonderful financial shape. So we're one of 3 counties in the state of Wisconsin to receive our award for our PAFR, our CAFR, and our budget. The GFOA calls that the Triple Crown. And we are one of few Wisconsin municipalities and one of 3 counties across the state who receive that. So kudos to our financial team, to our budgetary team for taking the time and effort to drive excellence in all 3 of those areas. One of the items that really leads to some of our financial prowess, we're prepared to report out on strategic planning measures and performance measures. We did take a little extra time kind of getting the data into a manageable format. So this is something, again, that departments and the county boards will see, county board members will see it on future agendas. Speaking of data collating, I'm going to touch a little bit about our recent ARPA workshops with both departments and our not-for-profit partners. So we compiled the data from the roundtables, and we're working to detail those out. We have a meeting I think it's early next week to start that process. I think a lot of those projects will fit nicely into sort of our ARPA bucket. Some of the projects that came up will maybe need to be considered as part of other county budgetary efforts because there's more of an operational component to those. So we'll have a discussion in short order here on the identified projects. And if we wish to do a similar event with our municipal partners with the executive committee, obviously we've already committed $5 million of our ARPA funding to support the EMS services at the municipal level. So that's something that will come up in the executive committee at their next meeting. As I mentioned last month, there's a serious defect in the underpinnings of the historic covered bridge. That was discovered during a roadway inspection because Covered Bridge Road itself is under construction. Our Public Works and Parks teams have really done a great job to work with engineering consultants as well as our on-site contractors to determine the scope of the project. This is obviously a project that would fit really nicely in an ARPA bucket, right? So I think that's something that we will discuss. I think it's highly likely that the pedestrian portion of the bridge will be closed at least throughout the summer, if not longer, just due to the amount of staging and effort that will take to replace the beams underneath the bridge. So that's something you'll see come through our Public Works Committee, but it's likely that that pedestrian bridge will be, it can be included as part of the vista of the park, but we won't let you walk on it, I guess. Project to upgrade the security entrance in this building at the admin center has been finalized through architectural design and at the Public Works Committee, and it will be let for bid in short order. Again, much like the Covered Bird project, this is would be a nice ARPA project to consider, and we're going to recommend that we use that funding to complete this project. In fact, both these projects, I don't think we're going to queue up with the rest of the projects. They're really priorities for the county, so we'll move them forward out in parallel, but outside of that larger ARPA discussion. It's certainly a priority for the county. We've had some recent security incidents in the building. So that's why we think it's important to do it as a standalone project. It's going to create an entrance for the public, much like we have at the Justice Center, where we have sheriff's deputies on site, metal detection, and everything. So the entire entrance to this building, the main entrance to this building, will be reconfigured for security. I think an unfortunate part of living in 2020. Quick update on shared ride taxi operations. Things have improved significantly. I think if there's any questions on that, we do have Joy here, our transit superintendent, and she's happy to answer those, but I think things have moved forward, kind of got over the hump from some personnel changes as well as a software change out there. I think we're still light on a few drivers. But again, I think, as I said, I don't think that's anything shared ride taxi specific. It's more of a, sort of the larger economic puzzle we're all trying to put together here in terms of these types of jobs. EMS, so we have received an application from every eligible fire department. The due date for those applications was June 30th. So they're under an internal review. I think the goal is to have these applications summarized and ready to, for review for the Public Safety Committee as early as the July meeting. I'm working with some local members of the fire service to kind of peel through some of the data that we have in our Pro Phoenix fire system. I think that will give us a really nice baseline to determine sort of call volumes, call types, and response times, so that we can use those as metrics to see how these funds are put to use. So we'll really be able to determine, the effectiveness of this $5 million expenditure and its hopeful success. The last item I have is we'll have Corporation Council at all of your committee meetings in July, just to give you a brief overview of open meeting laws and other legal requirements. So it may be old hat for some of you, but since we had some turnover amongst the board members, we thought it was a good time to kind of just do a little refresher on those items. So that concludes my report today, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Zwinell this morning? Supervisor Winker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, two questions today on those EMS grants. How many did you get that applied?
Every fire department that was eligible applied.
Wonderful. And then the other question I had asked, I don't know if Marty or the taxi person here in the room could talk about the status of the bus service going down I-43. I'm on I-43 quite a bit. I think once in a while there's more drivers than there are riders, but if somebody could talk about that, please.
The Public Works Committee approved a pilot of the express bus program. I think it extends through the end of the year. No? No? Maybe we'll let Joy, we'll invite Joy Nelson, our transit superintendent, up to the mic to talk a little bit about the express
Yes, good morning.
bus program.
Yeah, so our express bus, we restarted the service after we had seen the extreme drop, 80% drop of ridership during the pandemic. So we did restart the service, and we've thrown a bunch of money towards marketing to try and get people back on the bus, just to see, thinking that now would be the time when people would be coming back with construction and high gas prices. We're still not seeing ridership returning. So this is something that we will be discussing at Public Works in the next few months. The contract is up at the end of the year. So, there are some decisions that Public Works and then this board will be discussing about the future of the commuter bus.
Supervisor Wolf?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Joy. So just to clarify too, the operation of the express bus is not costing the county taxpayers anything directly. This has all been funded with outside dollars, including the marketing campaign to try to fully inform the public that the bus service had restarted. Nonetheless, the last report was at our Public Works meeting that we were at about 3 passengers per trip. So unless there's a drastic change, I think you can see the writing on the wall. This is going to be changed or coming to an end soon. So thank you.
And I think I would add, I believe the writing was on the wall pre-pandemic, but we wanted to make sure that we gave ample opportunity because there's a couple factors that should historically drive bus ridership. One would be high gas prices. We're certainly there. And the other one would be construction. And so we have both of those since our bus goes right down I-43 and, as gas prices are near $5 a gallon. I think the last time gas prices were this high, which was probably 2008-ish. That's when our ridership was also at an all-time high, and the bus nearly broke even. So we're not seeing I think there's been some demographic shifts and shifts in telecommuting that have really kind of, will maybe spell the end of the express bus service here in Ozaukee County.
And this is not unique to our county. This is really nationwide trends. So thank you.
Thank you Supervisor Wolf and Supervisor Winker. Is there any other questions for Mr. Zwinell? Thank you, Jason. Next up, we're going to go into the resolutions. Resolution 22-6, banning the acceptance of donations and grants from any non-governmental entity for the administration of Ozaukee County elections for the 2022 and 2024 county board term. This has been postponed since June 1. Supervisor Irish.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, let's get a motion on the floor first.
I was motioning.
First, okay, Supervisor Irish, second by Supervisor Haas. Supervisor Irish?
Yep, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, to me, this is a very forward-looking resolution and sends a clear and simple message. We don't want private money in our county for election administration. In my view, accepting any outside private money, regardless of the intent and who's offering the money, political affiliations aside, this will open the door for questions about the integrity of our elections, the vote tally, and the true influence of this money. If you look at the materials provided, I think it outlines a good case of one group donated more than $10 million in the 2020 elections. And counties, 40 of the 72 counties in the state accepted those grants. And page 17 kind of talks about what the money was used for. Page 19 talks about those counties. In southeastern Wisconsin, only Ozaukee and Washington did not accept any money. But just because we didn't accept money or were offered money in the past, doesn't mean we're not going to be offered money this year, next year, the year after. And if it was up to me, I would make this a permanent ban. I was told by Corp Counsel that this ban on private money could only be for this current board term. So I think there's been questions about why not make this permanent. In my view, I want to make this permanent, but we were told we can't. Secondly, another question was asked of, well, why bring this resolution now if we've never been offered the money? I mean, Ozaukee County is a very competitive county in the state. It's a very important county in the state for both sides. So, and if we already had one group, give more than $10 million in 2020, that group's probably going to resurface again this year, and plenty of other groups. So this is a preemptive resolution that says, keep your money. We don't want it in Ozaukee County. If you want to give money, we have a lot of great nonprofits you can give money to. We don't want it for election administration, and we don't need it. Before we move to vote on this, I want to make an amendment to the current version, and that is to strike the third and fourth whereas clauses of it. And I sent it to Julie ahead of time, so she had it. But with that, that's all I have. So thank you.
So the two whereof, the two therefores, or?
No, the third and fourth whereas clauses. That
Okay.
references the governor.
Okay, do we have a second to that amendment for removing? Supervisor Haas? Any discussion on the amendment? This is just the amendment where we're removing the two whereases, number 3 and number 4. Any discussion to that? Questions? If not, I'll clear the board for the vote. Motion carries on a vote of 18 yes, 5 no. Now we will have discussion on the amended resolution where the two whereases have been removed. Is there any discussion on the amended motion? Any discussion? Supervisor Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I have a couple of questions for Jason. Are we being offered a grant at this time to assist us in election administration?
Not that I'm aware of.
Would the clerk be able to accept a grant or a donation without the county board weighing in on it?
Our policy would require that the finance committee, as the clerk's oversight committee, would approve that. I don't know that the board would necessarily, I think it would depend on the nature of the grant as to whether or not it would require the county board to weigh in on that. They would in some respects on the financial piece of it, but again, yeah, it would depend on the nature of the grant. So I'm thinking of,
I think that would.
we
be-
had an election security grant that from the federal government, and I don't remember. Yeah, I don't believe that one went through the board, but it will at least go through the finance committee per our policies.
Does this apply to municipalities?
But we have no oversight over what municipalities do and don't do in terms of grant acceptance.
Thank you. Supervisor Irish, I thank you for the backup material. Very helpful. Generally, I like and agree with what Wisconsin Institute for Liberty or Law and Liberty puts out. I think they do a good job, and that includes this product. I would agree with it in general. And if I was a legislator at the state level responsible for providing guidance, oversight, direction to lower levels of government, or if I was the governor responsible for signing them into law and enforcing them, then I would certainly give pause and give this particular product great weight. But we're not those things, of course. We're the county board. And in this sense, we own our destiny, right? So we have an opportunity to weigh in, either at a minimum through the finance committee and more likely at the, much like we do for other grants, they would come in front of the county board. So I'm wondering why we are taking this up right now. And let me be clear, I'm all about restoring both election integrity and the perception of election integrity amongst our constituents. If you look at my website, it's one of 6 top issues that I promoted in the course of my campaign. My opponent was a significant player in the questioning of the election results of 2020. And I dove pretty hard into this issue. I sat down with our clerk. I went down to the municipal levels. I understand how the process works. They spent a great deal of time with me to walk me through that. I listened to all sorts of webs and podcasts, and there are issues today that with the perception of election integrity more so than the reality of election integrity. So I'm wondering today why we're taking this up. And I understand, I respect the idea that we're trying to restore some sense of confidence in the elections. And this is a message, as the proponent of the resolution it acknowledged. We're trying to send a message to our constituents. And while I appreciate that the removal of the whereas clauses that focused exclusively on the governor's veto of the Senate bill makes it less partisan, I'm concerned that it sends a message, a partisan message to at least some of our constituency. Why are we taking this issue up now? Since we own our destiny. Some it will provide some confidence. I think that Supervisor Irish and the proponents of the resolution expect and want. And for many others, it will send a message that the county board is taking up yet another partisan issue for which there's no need. So are we in the business of sending such messages to our constituents about a theoretical possibility when the practical implementation of this will confront the county board. We'll have a chance to weigh in on this. So I don't think we're in the business of sending divisive messages. I think we are in the business of pragmatic management of county bureaucracy and services. I think we are served best when we focus on those things and not take up hypothetical possibilities that are politically charged. And while I might vote against I would likely vote against the CTCL grant that came in front of the county board. That's not the case right now. So I will be voting against it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Ross. Supervisor Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, as I've mentioned in a few previous comments, I think this is a wonderful solution to a problem we don't have. And I don't understand, like Supervisor Ross, why this is coming up at this time. We don't have a problem here. I don't expect to have a problem here. And I really think this is us meddling in something we shouldn't be meddling in. So I'm definitely voting against this.
Thank you, Supervisor Nelson. Any other discussion? Supervisor Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I hear a lot of discussion about like, well, this isn't affecting us right now, but in my opinion, as government, we have to be proactive. And when any kind of money, no matter what affiliation it is, can influence elections, it's been that way for a long time, since the inception of our nation's history. So the county government has the right to oversee how elections are run and how they're handled. And we're just trying to be proactive. And anytime that a legislative body or a government body at Ozaukee County can prevent that from happening and be proactive, I think that's a good thing, whether it's a problem that we're seeing now or not. Because usually with government, when it's here, it's too late. It's too late to react. So being proactive, I don't think is a bad thing. So I'll be supporting this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Haas. Supervisor Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county clerk is an elected constitutional office. Duties include services to the county board, election administration, licenses and permits, other statutory duties, and other non-mandated functions. According to the will information that I read, I believe no county clerk received any funds from CTCL. I believe all the money went to cities, towns, and villages. Mr. Chairman, what if the local Lions Club wishes to donate money to the clerk to purchase voting equipment to help the vision impaired with their voting? I believe the clerk, as an elected official, should have the right to make this decision. I know it's no fun when you have a position or a job where you are no longer in charge of what you're responsible for. Dealing with this issue, it's another one of those over the many years that we've been here where we don't do well on political issues on the board. Here again, we need to put on our non-political hats for this vote. And I will be voting no. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Richard. Is there any other discussion? Supervisor Wolf.
I'll try to be quick. This is a tough one for me. I agree with a lot of what's been said. Supervisor Ross, if we were the Assembly or the Senate in Madison, I think, as a state, do we want outside third-party groups funding and participating in elections? This obviously the report indicates the that the funding went beyond funding, but there was also some participation like in Green Bay and whatnot. Based on political ideology, I don't think we do. But yet the reality is also, as Supervisor Nelson points out, my understanding is no county received any money because we're kind of in an administrative, position. It's the municipalities that actually are on the ground, that's where the votes, nobody votes at the county. You vote in your municipality. So we are in a sense, kind of looking for an answer to a problem that the county doesn't have. But so, I would be more in favor of sending a message on behalf of our constituents that are in a sense being disenfranchised here in Ozaukee County because other municipalities outside of Ozaukee County have received money to gin up the vote, if you will. We didn't get any of that. Well, it's not fair to our constituents, but this really doesn't deal with that. So I am conflicted here. But I don't believe it's a political issue. It's an issue of whether we want fair and honest elections. And based on third-party funding last time, that wasn't the case, at least in that issue. So, yeah, this is a tough one, but thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Wolf. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion to the amended resolution? Didn't show up on here. Supervisor. There you go, Supervisor Irish.
Yeah, just one comment because it's been said by a few supervisors. If you look at page 18, at least one county received grants. So I mean, it's pretty clear in the material. So I mean, at least one county, and that was in 2020. I mean, plenty more could receive in 2022. I mean, this is being proactive and this is setting good policy going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Irish. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? If there is no discussion, I will clear the board for the vote. Motion carries on a vote of 16 yes and 7 no. Next up, we have resolution 22-7, authorizing Ozaukee County to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Washington County for a cross-county taxi program. We have a motion from the floor. Supervisor Gravel, second by Supervisor Wolf. Any discussion? Any discussion? Supervisor Gravel. Hit your microphone, Supervisor.
On the pilot program, we saw that the increased ridership kept going up and up. And so for everybody that got left off in Newburgh for the last couple of years, we solved the problem. So because it's a dead end ride coming back, so we're losing a little bit of money that way, but the grants have kind of made up for that. So I'm fully voting for this.
Okay. Thank you, Supervisor Gravel. Supervisor Nelson?
Thanks again, Mr. Chairman, and maybe Supervisor Gravel can answer this question. I'm kind of wondering why we can't have ridership coming back. Why do we have to dead end?
Supervisor Gravel? Or Supervisor Wolf?
So
Anybody?
it's my understanding, Supervisor Nelson, the reason we went this way is because of all the federal primarily and state regulations, which make up a large part of our funding. And that one of the rules, the cardinal rules, is that you cannot duplicate service. So the fact that Washington County has its own shared ride taxi, if we were to pick up in Washington County, now we're duplicating service. And that's a no-no. And then you potentially lose all your funding. So we found a way to kind of thread this needle and make this work. And it's been tremendously successful. If we wanted, Ms. Nelson could come up and talk further about this. I believe my understanding is we have about 50 rides a month on our side of it. Okay, she's going to come up and correct me.
Oh,
But it's been a great program. The reason we're here before you today is because when this was passed as a pilot last December of 20, the resolution and the MOU both talked about a 1-year only non-renewable agreement. So in order to continue the program, we have to bring it before the board again this morning to pass a new resolution with a renewable agreement this time so that we can continue it. But go ahead, Joy.
And I just want to make clear, I think it's a great idea. I fully support it. I always have problems when the state and the federal wants us to become inefficient so that we can get more money.
Oh, boy, it's the
Why
case.
don't we just become efficient and not require so much?
Yeah, it's, there's always strings attached to the money and oftentimes those strings are inefficient operative
Right.
directives, but yeah.
Okay.
Joy, did you want to add?
Well, you just asked about the numbers, and we have 90 to 100 rides that we consider cross-county, and those include, what this does allow us to do is pick up people who are just 1 mile over the border in Washington County and bring them back in. And we're finding that is at least half of our rides. So making sure that everyone in Newburgh is properly served and they're able to come into Ozaukee County, and other people who are just over the border. Those are the majority of the rides that we're doing.
Thank you, Joy. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? If there is no other discussion, I will clear the board for the vote. Motion carries on a vote of 23-0. Next up, we have ordinance 22-2, creating section 3.02, paren 18, paren A of the Ozaukee County Code of Ordinances pertaining to speed limits on County Trunk Highway Q. Do we have a motion? Supervisor Nelson, do we have a second? We have a second. Supervisor Strom? Discussion. Any discussion? Supervisor Hagan. The nature of the change, John, you back there?
Yeah, this is a speed reduction of County Trunk Highway Q, which is the extension of 60 east of 43. Q is a short, like 1 mile section from 43 to Highway C. And then the extension beyond that is Ulio Lane, which is a Town of Grafton road. So this is a 1 mile section that's currently 55. And the recommendation from the Traffic Safety Commission and approved by the Public Works Committee was to lower it to 45.
55 to 45, John. Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Hagan. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? There being none, I'll clear the board for the vote. Motion carries on a vote of 21 yes and 2 no. Next up, we have the county administrator's recommendations for appointment to Lasata. We also have a reappointment for Doug McManus. We have to do them separate. Okay. So Mr. Zwinell has asked us to put forth Ms. Brown. Do we have a motion from the floor? Supervisor Nelson, second by Supervisor Irish. Any discussion? Any discussion? If not, I think we do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Next up is the reappointment for Doug McManus. pass doctor in this area here through the Joint Washington Ozaukee Board of Health. We have a motion. Supervisor Clark, second by Supervisor Holyoke. Any discussion? We can add doctor to reappoint Dr. Doug McManus because he is an MD, so. Any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Any reports from any committee chairs? Anything that anybody supervisor wants to speak to today? Supervisor Winker, move to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. Supervisor, yes.